Hey guys, Uncle Ray. Welcome to another episode of the Crypto Bellwether. On this channel, we cut through the hype and the noise, and I give you the non-biased information you can use to hopefully capitalize on the biggest opportunity in history, and that is this current bull run. Now guys, I just did a deep dive into HBAR to answer the question, why is Hedera or HBAR not pumping? Now I did this deep dive for you guys. I feel great about my position in HBAR. I'm still extremely bullish, but I get this question a lot. And so I just want to give you pretty much everything I just found from the deep dive. And then we'll take a look at the chart. And I'll tell you my price prediction, my thoughts for the future. And I'm going to show you a lot of different charts that give you a wealth of information about Hedera. It's not financial advice. Do with this information as you will. But go ahead and hit that like button. All right, let's dive into it. Now, what really got me thinking about Hedera this morning was Trump just announced his VP pick. And I wasn't familiar with him at all. His name is J.D. Vance. And so I did a deep dive into him to find out what he was all about. Well, guys, he's probably the biggest crypto guy in all of politics. I watched a lot of different videos. He talked about how he's been an investor in crypto for many, many years. He's extremely knowledgeable and extremely bullish. That being said, one of the articles that popped up was the one you see on the screen. It says service clip shows Trump's VP pick slamming Gensler's approach to crypto. Now, I'm not even going to dive into that because it's about Hedera, but he did beat up Gary Gensler, and I really believe things are going to change after this election if number 45 wins. Anyway, one thing he said was he's in touch with a lot of VCs, and he said, you know, the biggest thing they are into is like tracking, and he said that verification, right, of the data. Well, that got me thinking, what blockchain has that mechanism? Well, I started thinking it's HBAR. They have their consensus mechanism, and it is exactly for that. And, you know, it can be used 1,000 different ways, but for one example is, you know, if you have data or a smart contract or whatever on one side and you want to use the ledger and do a transaction on the other side, well, use that consensus mechanism and it verifies both sides, and then the distributed ledger makes that happen. For whatever that's worth, I thought I'd just throw that in. All right. No matter what, guys, there's not a blockchain out there, honestly, combined, and I've done videos on this, that have done the transactions that HBAR has done. You know, I saw a video a while back talked about how Solana did more transactions of all the top 10 layer 1s combined. Well, Hedera wasn't on the list. Well, when you go put Hedera on the list, check this out. Yes, Solana has done more transactions than all the other layer 1s combined, but Hedera has done more transactions than Solana and all the other layer 1s combined. Think about that. Now, that's major layer 1s, guys, right? Like the top 10. Anyway, they're at 58 billion transactions. Now, if they are killing it like that, why is the token not pumping? Well, I did a video a while back talking about one thing that I wish the Hedera Foundation would do is marketing. They don't believe in spending their money into marketing. But anyway, so what we're going to talk about is what they do with their money. The tokenomics, we'll look at the vesting schedule and things like that. And then, like I said, I'll just tell you my thoughts. All right. One of the biggest, by far, case studies and full applications of blockchain, which HBAR is hash graph, it's not blockchain, is by Avery Dennison, their APMA project. It does the bulk of the transactions on Hedera. Now, here's what I found out, and to be honest, short term I don't like it. As pumping my bags, I don't like it, but this is something we all need to understand. With the amount of transactions the APMA project is doing, it could explode the profits and the transactions on Hedera just by itself. Well, they created that project with funding from the Hedera Foundation, and they still have a lot of tokens that are going to allow them to keep building out that project and not spend any money. So, I wanted to bring that to your attention because, I'm always harping on like Ripple and XRP, and I get a lot of kickback from that. But the truth is, the difference between, say, Hedera and, XRP or Ripple is, Ripple makes the money. When they dump on their, tokens and they increase the supply, they're putting it on their bottom line. They're making money. Now, yeah, every once in a while they feed something into the ecosystem, but for the most part, almost all the money keeps going back into Hedera's ecosystem, paying the governing council or funding the governing council to build out these projects. Now, how is that positive? Well, short term, it's not going to pump the token because they don't have to go in and buy HBAR, right, retail. But that will come to an end, and it will start coming to an end from my research at the end of 2025. Yes, I don't like that, and we'll talk about that. That being said, the cool thing about this project is that it's proving that Hedera can scale without any issues. It is showing the world how powerful this tracking mechanism for supply chain management can be. And we know, guys, that ESG is a thing, and carbon credits and all that is being provenly pioneered by Avery Dennison and other projects on Hedera. Well, the world's watching, and they're going to jump in, and they're not going to get funding from Hedera Foundation. They're going to be buying HBAR. And I think when we have the real world utility bull run, which will probably be the next bull run, maybe even the one after, Hedera will shine at that time and absolutely explode. Now, I still think it's going to do extremely well in this bull run, and we'll talk about it, but let me keep giving you the information. Now, this is another example, pretty much the same type use case. Hyundai Motor Group has been using Hedera for a while. Well, now they've pioneered their system, their supply chain management. So think about it. They build cars from all around the world. Well, now they just announced they are onboarding 26 or 28 different suppliers around the world into their supply chain management using HBAR. Guys, that's going to be the trend. Now, I don't think that Hedera is going to take over the world. I don't know if it can ever outrun, say, what's being built on Ethereum. But it's an extremely different use case, and Wall Street is backing Hedera, using Hedera. I don't know if they will ever buy it, stake it, because the one thing that Hedera does different than all other cryptos that Wall Street loves is they can budget, because what happens is you can pay in fiat and they convert it to HBAR, right? So if you are building a project on any other project that's very volatile, you can't say, well, we're going to spend $50,000 a month. That's what it's going to cost us, and just stack that to the side. You don't know, because, like, say, XRP, right? It goes from 50 cents to 83 cents back to 45 cents in 3 months, 90 days. Well, that matters to Wall Street. So that's one thing that Hedera does that set them up for success to bring on like the people that's part of their governing council. Anyway, here's part of the deep dive, guys, and I don't recommend you do it unless you just really want to do it. But I went to Reddit, and this thread is, I don't know, it's probably an hour read to dig into it. But one thing I like about Reddit and Twitter and other avenues is, one thing in crypto is people hate real conversations like this one. They call it FUD. They don't do any research. They tell you, you need to do some research, but they won't read this thread, but they'll tell me, I don't know what I'm talking about. But anyway, here's what I got out of this thread. And they basically talk about how the governing council gets funded. And they're not going to have to go into the market and buy retail or spend their money to buy HBAR. That's not positive short term. Now, let me show you some different charts. The first chart is, just this alone is mind-blowing. So far, I don't know where that's going. There you go. So far this year, HBAR has done right at, and probably by the time I've done this video, 20 billion transactions. Guys, that's just in a year. Most layer ones haven't even hit a billion transactions yet. And Hedera hit that billion transaction mark faster than Ethereum, Solana, any other one, and they are exploding. And that gets back to the point long term. All you guys have to think about this. When you're charging, a percent of a penny for a transaction like a lot of blockchains are, at some point you're going to have to scale to support your ecosystem. HBAR's not there yet, but I would say by the time they're fully diluted, which we're going to talk about, they'll easily be able to pay their ecosystem. And there's many projects that I see, like Algo, XLM, XRP, that aren't even in the ballpark, not even 2% there of making enough money, scaling big enough to make a profit to support their ecosystem. And that's something you got to measure, guys, if you're thinking about holding these projects long term. How are they going to support themselves? Because at 0.002 of a penny, guys, you got to do trillions of transactions for whatever that's worth. All right, let's look at this. Bear with me. There we go. Let's see. All right, there's 50 billion HBARs. But guys, 72% of it's in circulation. That is great. They're getting close to being fully diluted. But here's the best thing. 62% of it is being staked. And out of the unreleased supply, guys, half of that is going back to be support the ecosystem, just like with the governing councils. As far as tokenomics go, it's really positive. You can tell that they are there for the long run. But unfortunately, we're not there yet. Now bear with me. Let's see. This just shows you the APMA funding path which kicked this off, but it goes from the treasury to ecosystem, etc., etc. But guys, this shows you that you have a major project, a major global company that is using Hedera and HBAR, and it's a chart worth looking at. If you want to go check it out, it's atma.io. I'd recommend going and take a look at it. All right. Now that being said, when you look at the increasing supply and what's going to the governing councils and things like that, the active circulating supply, guys, it keeps growing by about 4% a month until December 2025. Now, there's a good chance this bull run is over by, the last month of 2025. That being said, after that, you're going to see a lot less money come out, a whole lot less money come out of the foundation to support the system. The ecosystem should be supporting itself, and you're going to have real developers building projects that can support themselves. And that is what it's going to take for all these projects to last, because I don't care what anyone says, guys, the odds are at least, and I'm being generous, 98% of all the tokens out there, whether you love them or don't like them, are going to disappear. And the biggest reason is when they get fully diluted, there's not going to be anything left to support their ecosystem. And something to think about, guys, along the way, like right now, these projects with bad tokenomics, you keep getting dumped on, right? And so the founders, see, Hedera keeps pumping it back into the system for the most part, better than most that I know of. But most foundations, and especially the corporations, they're putting it on their bottom line. So when you hear, like Ripple or Stellar or any project, Algo, it doesn't matter, dumped 180 million tokens in a month, that's just pure profit going on their bottom line. And guys, it's man to man. If I make $1 million out of any ecosystem, I took that from endless amount of people, right? Same with you. If you make $10,000 or $100,000 or $10 million, it doesn't matter. A ton of people lost money. So it doesn't matter if it's a foundation or a company or if it's a whale or just the average person. Keep that in mind, because there's, no matter what project you're talking about, there's one ecosystem. And if $1 million comes out of that pie, that's money you don't have access to. They took that from you. That's an opportunity from you. You can't all win. That's what gets me about the big tribes in crypto. There's not going to be a tribe. It's impossible where everyone wins. Everybody doesn't get Lambo. Somebody will get a Lambo, but it won't be the average person in the tribe. And it probably won't be anyone that is tribal, for whatever that's worth. Now, that being said, let's look at, bear with me, let's look at Hedera's chart. I wish I would have been paying attention, because I didn't do what I teach my coaching clients or what I suggest to them. When this pumped, I wish, and if I would have been paying, I just wasn't paying attention, guys. I really wasn't, and I missed it. I was busy, and it pumped extremely fast, which is lesson learned, not just to me, but something you all guys got to think about. You don't have a lot of time to think, but if I would have been doing my system, I would have took out my initial investment. So I'd still have a big bag of Hedera, but I would have zero risk. A lot of people don't like that, but I would love to have had that, 4x sitting on the side, or the percent of the 4x sitting on the side, and I could buy it back and do it again, and I'd be way ahead of the game. I'm still in great shape, but I wasn't paying attention. I highly recommend, guys, like I tell you, take profits, you'll become the profits. And think about it. If you put $10,000 into XRP and it at 4 or 5 cents, and it hits 16, 17, 18 cents, whatever it hit, and you would have pulled that out, or a percent of that, pulled out your initial investment, you'd have your 10 grand, you had zero risk. You got to play the downside, in my opinion. All right, that being said, let me recap my thoughts on Hedera and HBAR. Long term, I can't be more bullish. I think it's an exceptional project. I think it's very legit. They're showing they can scale. They're showing that they're going to be able to support their ecosystem. I love everything about it long term. Wall Street's going to step in. Have no doubt that Hedera's going to be around a long, long time. Now, that being said, how high do I think it's going to pump in this bull run? Well, initially for the last 2.5 years, I've said that, when I was suggesting buying, looking at Hedera at 4 and 5 cents, that I felt it was the closest thing to a guarantee of a 10x in all of crypto. That being said, I believe Hedera or HBAR will probably make an all-time high. I hope it does. But for me, because of what's changed in the market with so many different tokens diluting the market, so many different narratives. Think about it, guys. There was no such thing as real world assets. That wasn't a thing in the last bull run. AI wasn't a thing in the last bull runs. Meme coins pretty much wasn't a thing. Yeah, there was Doge and Shiba, right? But it wasn't like people sitting around with real money thinking, should I buy WIF or should I buy Pepe or should I buy Bonk or whatever. Now memes are taken away from the people that want to buy real world utility projects like HBAR. Now when we have that bull run, like I said, I think it'll be the next bull run or the following bull run. We're gonna see which projects have real world utility and who's going to be the long-term winner. And I think HBAR will absolutely be a top 5 project. I have no doubt. But for this bull run, I'm going to start taking aggressive project profits at about 20 cents. And unless something changes, somewhere around 30, 35 cents, I'm out. Now, hey, I'm okay with just pulling out, 4, 5, 6, 7x of my HBAR. I'm not going to be disappointed. Yes, I wish it would do a lot better, but things have changed. And, for the people that just, run around the internet and find people that tell you what you want to hear, guys, that's probably not going to work well for you. There's still people calling for $1 HBAR, $2.50, $5, even $10 HBAR. But guys, that mathematically and the probabilities without some crazy narrative change, that's virtually impossible. If it hit $1 to $2.50, would not shock me. But the only thing that I can imagine that will pump Hedera or HBAR to say $1 or $2.50, something like that, they're going to have to rekindle the ISO200 banking reset narrative, and I don't think that's even a real narrative anymore. Now, that being said, because of so much misinformation, dishonesty, and flat out ignorance in crypto, that narrative could come back alive. But if it does, it will just be a retail narrative, and I don't see any of the ISO tokens pumping extremely hard because of it. And when I say extremely hard, like HBAR to 250, XRP to $7, XLM, anywhere close to that, I don't see that happening. Could we get a spike? Yes, we could, and I hope so. But now, that being said, guys, I don't know what's going to happen. No one does. But I'm pretty sure that when altcoin season gets here, and whatever token you own, and I'm not just talking about Hedera right now, when it pumps and it lights up and you start getting candles like this, you're not going to be able to sit around, call your buddies, and watch videos for 2-3 weeks to see if it's time to sell. It's going to happen fast because the big money are going to roll into these projects. They're probably already there. Well, I know they're already there. And when that liquidity gets there and that narrative starts to pump, right, that's the only out they have. And trust me when I tell you that 10 million, the billion-dollar hedge funds, they are not going to be holding the bag after this bull run, right? The only reason they will not be selling is if there just wasn't enough liquidity for them to dump their entire bag. So the point about that is, no matter which project you own and you love, guys, take profits, take them fast, take them aggressively. when altcoin season gets here, or you're going to be left holding the bag. All right, guys, if y'all need some help with your portfolio, I do one-on-one coaching. It's only $250 for 3 Zoom or phone calls. I think it'll help you a lot. But again, whether you take me up on that or not, guys, get a game plan, stick to it, take your profits, or you'll become the profits. Hit that like button. Let me know what you think in the comments section. And either way, come back and be part of this community. Take care, guys.